Ilara Brooks once lived by alarm clocks, lesson schedules, and the comforting rhythm of children reciting answers in unison. Those sounds had vanished from her life so completely that sometimes she wondered if they had ever existed at all. Now, her mornings began with the ache of stiff joints and a low hum of the city, waking up without her. The park bench she slept on had become both her bed and her witness, cold metal pressing against her spine as she sat upright through the night, afraid that lying down meant surrender. Around her, Central Park bloomed with motion, dog walkers laughing, joggers checking their watches, couples sipping coffee, but none of it reached her. Ilara had learned how to be unseen, how to fold herself inward, so the world wouldn't notice her failure. She reminded herself daily that she had not always been this woman. She had once mattered. She had once been trusted with children's minds and futures. Losing her job after a school restructuring had been the first blow, followed by medical bills, followed by eviction. Each loss stacked neatly on the last until there was nothing left to balance on. Still, she clung to dignity in small ways, keeping her clothes clean, speaking kindly, never begging. She didn't know that across the park, 3 children were already watching her with careful interest, sensing something rare beneath the exhaustion in her eyes. Theo Harrington adjusted his grip on the clipboard, mimicking the posture he had seen his father use in board meetings. At 12, he had already mastered the art of observation. Lydia, perceptive and quietly emotional, leaned toward him, whispering her thoughts, while 7-year-old Noah bounced on his heels, more excited than cautious. They had studied many women from a distance, polished smiles, designer heels, voices sweetened with calculation, but Ilara was different. She didn't look around to see who was watching. She simply existed, honest and tired. They approached her without fear, surprising Ilara enough that she almost dropped her bag. Theo explained their mission in a serious tone. They were interviewing candidates. Lydia asked about honesty, about what Ilara believed made someone trustworthy. Noah asked if she would listen even when she was tired. Ilara answered each question slowly, thoughtfully, never realizing she was being evaluated. When asked why she was homeless, she didn't blame anyone. She simply explained that life had unraveled faster than she could repair it. The children exchanged knowing glances. This woman wasn't pretending. The children decided she passed the first round before Ilara even realized there were rounds at all. They thanked her politely and walked away, leaving her confused but strangely lighter. For the rest of the day, she replayed their questions in her head, wondering why being honest had felt so important. She didn't expect to see them again. Life had taught her not to expect kindness to return. That evening, as she wrapped herself tighter against the cold, a black car pulled up near the park. Theo stepped out first, confident and steady, followed by Lydia and Noah. They told her she'd been selected. Ilara laughed softly, assuming it was a joke, until Theo explained they wanted her to be their tutor. The word struck something deep inside her. Tutor meant trust. Tutor meant being needed. Against every instinct telling her not to hope, she agreed to come with them, just to talk. The penthouse felt unreal, like stepping into someone else's life. Glass walls overlooked the city, lights stretching endlessly. Ilara kept her hands folded, afraid to touch anything. The children moved through the space comfortably, at home in its luxury, but starved of warmth. They coached her quickly. She was to say she was a temporary tutor. Nothing more. Ilara sensed there was more at stake than a job, but she respected their secrecy. Dominic Harrington arrived late. Exhaustion etched into his posture. He paused when he saw Ilara, surprise flickering across his face. She stood, introduced herself simply, and told the truth about her qualifications without exaggeration. Dominic listened. He noticed how the children hovered near her, relaxed in a way he hadn't seen in years. That night, over a quiet dinner, he offered her the position. It was practical, he told himself. Necessary. He didn't yet realize it was the beginning of something irreversible. Living in the penthouse felt like walking on glass. Ilara worked hard, careful not to overstep. She helped with homework, listened to stories, enforced rules gently. Slowly, laughter returned to the space. The children flourished under her consistency, and Dominic noticed changes he couldn't ignore. Fewer tantrums, better sleep, a sense of calm that money had never provided. The children, however, were not satisfied. Phase 2 began quietly. Schedules overlapped. Meals coincided. Conversations lingered. Ilara and Dominic found themselves talking late into the night, sharing pieces of their past they rarely spoke aloud. They bonded over abandonment, over the quiet grief of being left behind. Without planning to, they began to heal each other. As Alara settled into the role of emotional anchor, the house began to feel less like a fortress and more like a home. She didn't replace anyone. She simply filled a space that had been empty for too long. Dominic trusted her in ways that surprised him. The children confided in her without fear. For the first time in years, Alara felt essential. That sense of peace shattered when Vivian Harrington returned. She arrived polished and loud, claiming her children with cameras and lawyers in tow. She spoke of branding, of image, of reclaiming what was hers. But the children stood firm. They chose Alara openly, fiercely. Dominic stood with them, no longer afraid to confront the past. The custody hearing was brutal, exposing wounds long hidden. Alara never fought for recognition. She simply told the truth. The court saw consistency, care, and genuine love. When the decision came, it affirmed what the family already knew. Alara was their foundation. Afterward, life shifted gently, but permanently. Alara found purpose again, working with children's creative projects, rediscovering her voice. Dominic chose change too, moving him into a warm townhouse where laughter echoed freely. The walls no longer felt cold. The wedding was simple, joyful, and imperfect. Noah insisted on an inflatable dinosaur. Lydia cried openly. Theo smiled with quiet pride. As Alara stood beside Dominic, she understood that family wasn't found, it was chosen. Once invisible, she now stood at the center of a life built on intention. She had not been rescued. She had been seen. I'm glad you enjoyed this story. Don't forget to follow, share, and comment your thought about the story. See you in the next story.